Good Wednesday evening, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And this is going to be my long-awaited Rambo ranking and review. So, I think it was about like May, I decided to read First Blood by David Morrell, which was the first novel that inspired First Blood. And I just decided to listen to the series and watch all the movies. So in this video, I'm going to rank the Rambo movies from least awesome to awesome. And here are my copies. So I thought I'd go ahead and start off with number 5. And this was back and forth for me. But number 5, I landed on Rambo 3. This was released in 1988. And this brings John Rambo to Afghanistan, and he is in there to save Colonel Troutman from being tortured brutally. So he just goes into Afghanistan, meets allies, and tries to get out Troutman alive. This movie did a great job at capturing the invasion of the USSR into Afghanistan. And that was near the end of the Cold War, and Afghanistan was more into the news because they were known to be part of terrorism. So, this was a very decent movie, but it does get a little bit macho. Which, of course, Rambo is the most macho dude you'll ever see. But I really did enjoy the story. All 5 of these movies have the same story, more or less. But this one felt more personal for John Rambo because he was just out there to save his friend and father figure. So at number 5, in my opinion, is Rambo 3. And at number 4 is Rambo Last Blood. This came out in 2019. This was the second time I ever watched this movie. And I was actually blown away at the second time watching it, because this has a very emotional story to it. So, Rambo is seemingly retired. He's back at home, and he lives on his farmhouse, and there is also the addition of Rambo's sister, who now has a daughter of her own. So Rambo is now an uncle, and his niece is almost about ready to go to college, and she decides to go to Mexico to find her deadbeat dad, which turned out to be a really bad idea because she got abducted by basically the cartel. So Rambo goes into Mexico to try and save her, but it's really, really sad on what actually happened to his niece. So he exacts revenge one last time. And it is brutal. I mean, he just like Home Alone's everybody. So, I really do like the last act of this film, but the rest of the film is kinda generic. But I also think it is a good send-off for Rambo. But he doesn't die at the end. You think he does, but he looks pretty wounded to me. So, and at number 4 is Rambo Last Blood. And at number 3 is going to be Rambo First Blood Part 2. This was released in 1985, and Rambo is basically going to Vietnam to save POWs from the Viet Cong. This one was really good too, but it has nothing to do with the original. In the original, though, Rambo commits suicide, and they didn't know what to do with the character after that. So there were novelizations that continued his story. The character is dead in the book, but he is still alive in the movies. But he meets a female guide by the name of Ko, and they form a relationship, and they want to try and escape to Thailand for freedom. But things go awry in the very end, and Rambo is the one that comes out on top. So that's my number 3 pick, Rambo First Blood Part 2. My number 2 pick is Rambo 2008. And this one was very hard because I think this is probably the most badass action film in this franchise. It's definitely the goriest. So, Rambo is called back into action, and he goes to but anyway, he comes in contact with like a church group, and these rebels kidnap them and keep them prisoner. So it is up to Rambo to save them, and he also brings in mercenaries to help him along the way. This movie is so brutal, but it is so good. So that's my number 2 pick. My number 1 pick is First Blood, 1982. This is what started the whole franchise, and this is an action classic. Very simple premise where John Rambo just decided to come home, and he did no harm to anybody. He just got on a sheriff's department's nerves, and he's just part of a one-man army. But Teasel is our main villain in here, and Rambo is just basically on the run. But the scene at the end is very heartbreaking, where he like literally breaks down about his PTSD, and he's ultimately bought into justice So that is my number one pick, First Blood. And those are my thoughts on the Rambo franchise. I'm pretty sure Rambo took us to Burma. So there you go. But I really do enjoy this franchise quite a bit. And it was a long time coming for me to actually talk about this franchise. Well, there you go. Okay, those are my thoughts on the Rambo franchise. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and look out for my review on Deadpool and Wolverine coming Friday, and I will also add into that my thoughts on Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Logan. So you'll get 4 movies in that video. That way I don't have to do it back to back to back. So look out for that video, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Peace. And also, I'll go ahead and film my book haul tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Alright, I'll see you later.